The new S-Class, the new luxury, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.
Maybank has vehemently dismissed allegations that it will face major financial trouble on exposure to Genting Hong Kong as baseless. In an email response to The Edge, a Maybank spokesperson said that while it does not comment on its exposure to customers or alleged customers due to confidentiality obligations, the group would like to reinforce that it observes strict accounting treatments related to provisioning and impairment of loans as per International Financial Reporting Standard and Malaysian Financial Reporting Standard. Maybank adds that it has a rigorous asset quality monitoring process whereby vulnerable borrowers are identified and managed accordingly from the onset of any potential asset quality weakness. Thus, Maybank says that its current net credit charge of guidance for loan provisioning remains unchanged and that its financial position remains strong. To clarify, Singapore's The Straits Times reported that 3 Malaysian banks, Maybank, CIMB Bank and RHB Bank, were among some of the chief unsecured creditors of Genting Hong Kong. According to the report, the 3 banks have a combined exposure of $600 million and huge provisions caused by the beleaguered cruise operator would have a huge impact on both their profits and share prices. CIMB says it does not disclose or comment on specific names or clients, saying that it has already taken proactive measures such as prudent provisioning to protect its asset quality. CIMB also says that it is on track to achieve its 2021 key financial targets, including its credit cost guidance to market. As at time of this report, RHB spokesperson said they were not able to comment on the report. To recap, cruise ship operator Genting Hong Kong filed to wind up the company last week after it warned of a potential cross-default amounting to $2.78 billion due to the insolvency of its indirect wholly owned German-based subsidiary MV Werthen Holdings as negotiations with the German government to rescue the unit had failed. Genting Hong Kong is controlled by Datuk Seri Lim Kok Teh, who owns 75.5% of the company. Lim stepped down from his position as Genting Hong Kong's chairman and CEO with effect from January 21st, the company said in a stock exchange filing. Au Fuk Yew also resigned as deputy CEO and group president. Neither man had any disagreement with the board, the company said. According to a Bloomberg report, Genting Hong Kong's issues may not have major ramifications for other Genting operations. Genting Singapore and Genting Malaysia have no cross-shareholders with Genting Hong Kong except for Lim being a common stakeholder of all 4. Datuk Seri Najib Razak is said to be considering appointing a Queen's Counsel from the UK to argue his conviction and sentence of 12 years and 210 million ringgit fine for the SRC International case in the federal court. Meanwhile, the Apex Court has fixed March 15th and 16th to hear Najib's application to adduce more evidence, which he failed to do in the Court of Appeal last month. Deputy Public Prosecutor Muhammad Ashraf Adrian Kamarul says Najib's lead counsel, Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah, will write to the federal court on Tuesday on the ex-PM's intention to hire a Queen's Counsel from the UK. This was revealed during case management on Monday before Federal Court Deputy Registrar Siti Hajar Mustafa. Should the former Premier make the application, the Queen's Counsel would have to gain leave from the federal court to argue the case first. This follows that a Queen's Counsel would need the permission of the court as the person is not licensed to address the court here, given that the person does not practice here. The Apex Court is the final appeal process for the Pekan MP and former Finance Minister. To recap, Najib was sentenced by the High Court on July 28, 2020 with regard to abuse of power in relation to the 4 billion ringgit loans given by Retirement Fund Inc. to SRC, 3 counts of criminal breach of trust of 42 million in SRC funds, and 3 similar money laundering charges. Justice Datuk Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali, in his sentencing of Najib, described the case as among the worst cases of abuse of position and betrayal of trust. Malaysia's largest semiconductor wafer foundry, Siltera Malaysia, is investing 645 million on an expansion plan to boost its annual capacity by 20%. In a statement, the group said the investment will increase Siltera's annual capacity from 8.3 million as at end July 2021 to 10 million mask layers. The additional capacity is expected to be ready for production by early 2023. Siltera is a strategic investment of Dagang Exchange and Beijing Integrated Circuit Circuit Advanced Manufacturing and High-End Equity Investment Fund Centre. The Next Group MD and Siltera Executive Chairman Tan Sri Syed Zainal Abidin Syed Muhammad Tahir says the investment is the shareholders' ongoing commitment to equip the company with best-in-class manufacturing capabilities and expand the production capacity to achieve a better economy of scale with lower manufacturing costs. He adds that the initiatives implemented thus far to transform Siltera into a profitable and resilient technology company have yielded fruitful results. Syed Zainal says that in the past 6 months, the debottlenecking and process improvements exercise have improved productivity and efficiency levels. As such, Siltera is now well poised to grow further in view of the continuous strong demand for semiconductors and prevailing capacity constraints. He adds that the demand is particularly relevant, especially for 200mm specialty foundries where Siltera is in. Syed Zainal says the recently inked long-term agreements with Chip One Technology Beijing and Taiwan-based Ely Technology Corp will provide a stable business for Siltera in case a market downturn happens. The Ministry of International Trade and Industry has welcomed the approval given to 2 new airlines to operate in Malaysia despite fears of overcapacity. MITI Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin Ali says the granting of licenses to the airlines is expected to help the airline industry to recover from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, besides promoting healthy competition, Bernama reports. Azmin says that as most countries have opened their borders and increased tourism sector promotions, this can help the aviation sector revitalize their activities. However, Azmin says the number or capacity of those who would use the aircraft is still low, as many tourists are too cautious to travel due to the ongoing Omicron variant. He adds that the airline industry still needs time to return to normal. The 2 new airlines are SKS Airways and My Airline. SKS Airways, owned by Johor-based SKS Group and founded by businessman Alam Sim Si Kyong, will start flights from Subang to Pangkor Island from Tuesday. My Airline is headed by several experienced directors from the aviation industry and has received permission to operate the service from January 1st to December 31st, 2022. Greatech Technology says it has secured new orders for production line systems worth 160 million ringgit, mainly from a customer from the solar industry. Greatech did not provide details on the customer's identity. In a statement to the board, the factory automation solutions provider said the new orders are expected to last the group until the second quarter of 2023. Greatech says that based on the orders secured by the group for year to date and progress of the subsidiaries, it expects positive development in the solar sector in 2022 and 2023, with the opportunities presented by worldwide green initiatives and increased usage of renewable energy. Greatech expects this to contribute positively to the group's revenue for FY22 and FY23. For the third quarter of FY21, Greatech's net profit rose 24.8% to 29 million due to increased foreign exchange gain as well as lower administrative and marketing expenses.
This program was brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.